So I was preparing for episode 62 in my office the other day. I was reading through some of the transcripts. I was using my good buddy Claude and Gemini to help look at a few of the last few episodes. And as I was going through those, I realized that the episodes had a vaguely familiar feel, starting with, what are you doing today? Take me back to the beginning of the story. What I've found is that over the last 60 episodes, the grit mindset has gotten off to a fantastic start, and I'm proud of the work we've done here. However, over the last few episodes, what I've realized is I've hit the max on my craft without taking a step back. So I've made a decision. This is Matt Rosen, and this is the Grit Mindset with me, your host, Matt Rosen. The mission of the Grit Mindset is to inspire and empower our listeners by delving deep into the journeys of those who have faced significant challenges and emerged stronger. Through authentic conversations, we uncover the mindsets, strategies, and lessons that have propelled these individuals to overcome adversity and achieve success. My aim is to provide actionable insights and real-world advice to help our listeners cultivate their own grit and navigate their personal and professional lives with confidence and resilience. Today's episode of the Grit Mindset is going to be a little bit different. This is episode 61. This is the closer for the season. And then I'm going off the air until October of 2026. I'm going to use the rest of the time here today to do a few things. I'm going to tell you why I'm taking the break, tell you some of the biggest lessons I've learned, and tell you when I'm coming back. So let me be direct about this because I think it matters. I'm not taking a break because I'm burned out. I'm not taking a break because I ran out of gas. Luckily, I have many lined up. I'm taking a break because I feel like I've hit the ceiling of my craft, and I want to break through it before I record the next 60 episodes. I've learned some things about myself over the last few months. My buddies Claude and Gemini, as I mentioned, have helped. And what I feel like is I've been going through the same spiel. It's same opener, same arc, same close. And I've let guests off the hook, frankly, in vulnerable moments. I've summarized people's points back to them when I should be asking another question. I've been treating every interview in the same way, chronologically, with safety, and predictably. And I'm not pushing back when guests pivot away from the real story. And while we've got a great rating, and thank you for those that have listened and rated, the episodes are good. They're not great. And good's the ceiling I want to push past. And I can't do that when I'm running the same playbook each week. And so that's why I'm going to hit pause, but only until the fall. So before I sign off for the season, I want to share some of the biggest things I've learned from 60 conversations about grit. And these are lessons I didn't necessarily have when I got started. Lesson one came from one of my most recent guests, a guy named Melvin Bullitt. He's a fighting Texas Aggie like me, who's Indianapolis Colt, actually the Super Bowl captain, unfortunately, when they lost to the Saints. And I asked him a question about his last game. Did he know when his career was ending? Did he know the hit that took him out of his final game? And when he did, he got emotional about it. And instead of sitting in the moment, instead of letting him tear up, instead of asking another question, I pushed past to ask him about being an entrepreneur and the Bullitt experience, which is an awesome setup he's got out in Rowlett, where he's training lots of adults and kids to be great at sports like he was and teaching them great attitudes and really getting 1% better every day. But here's the lesson that I learned. When my guest was vulnerable, the right move isn't another question. It's not. It's letting the silence sit before moving on. And so some of the best moments I found really live in the pause, and I rushed past one of those moments, and I won't do that again. So lesson number 2 I'm going to share came from Ryan Blair. He's the CEO of Alloy Automotive. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's a great one. He talks about how he went from being a A&M college dropout to becoming an auto mechanic to building, what is now an empire of aftermarket repair shops. And there was a moment in time, he talked about the worst time in his career. His business was hemorrhaging cash. He cleaned out his wife's 401k to make payroll. And he said one day he crawled under his desk, literally in the fetal position. And he said, you know what, I can't forget this. He sat there waiting, it didn't come. He's like, this can't kill me. Then how's it serving me? And, that moment, that's grit. It's not an inspirational quote or a philosophy. So here's a lesson. Grit isn't a concept. It's a Tuesday afternoon under a desk when you think all is lost. So specifics of the story beat philosophy all day long. So as I kind of reflect on what season 2 is going to look like, I'm going to spend the next season really hunting for specifics. The exact moment, the exact place, the exact thought, because that's where the show lives. Lesson 3 came from a couple of different guests, including Eric Winton and Jay Farrow. They're friends of mine. I've been partners with them in business. They've been on the board of my company. And here's what I learned in interviewing them. The people that are closest to me, my friends, are oftentimes the hardest to interview. I probably went easy on both of them where I should have pushed. I softened questions. I filled in gaps because I was able to lead the witness. Maybe part of me was protecting them. Maybe there were things I didn't want to ask, protecting our friendship, protecting a business relationship. Protecting myself from accessing something that might be awkward the next time I see him. But here's the lesson out of that. Familiarity is a trap. It's not a shortcut. And the people he trusts most, probably the ones who'll give you the most, but you have to have the nerve to ask. So season 2, I'm going to interview my friends like strangers and strangers more like friends. So here's what I'm going to do between now and October. I'm going to actually study the craft of interviewing, and not casually. I'm going to listen to the best interviewers working a day, break down what they do that I don't. I'm going to write. I'm going to review the transcripts. The show may go quiet, but I'm not going to disappear or stop thinking about this. And when I come back, the format of the Grit Mindset is going to change. I don't know exactly how yet. I'm still working it out. But the days of every episode opening with, tell me about your current company or what you're doing today are over. We're probably going to change up the intro as well, although I am still a huge fan of AC/DC's Back in Black, and that is my walk-off music. So what's coming in season 2? It's not going to be more of the same with a new coat of paint. Here's what I'm exploring. I'd actually love to get people's input if you're listening to this episode today. I'd love to get a direct message via Instagram or via LinkedIn. You can also write me at matt@aleda.com. So I'm thinking about bringing back some of the season 1 guests, maybe to ask some of the questions I didn't ask the first time. In fact, the first 7 episodes, I was so busy shuffling papers, I wasn't even listening to what they were saying because I was just trying to get through my questions. I was glad at least in episode 7, I ditched my papers. But I think there's some good follow-up interviews I could do. I'm also thinking about doing some 2 or 3 guest episodes, putting some guests in a room together, debating a topic where they actually disagree and having some fun with it. And I'm thinking about a few more solo episodes, but like with real arguments, not just memoirs of the past that are somewhat disconnected and disjointed. So if you have a guest you think would be great for season 2 or a format you want me to try, send me a message. It'd be great. So the off season's time for conversation. Don't necessarily go quiet because I do, and we'll think of some ways to fill in the blanks on LinkedIn with some old episodes while I'm out. So before I close out this episode of the Grit Mindset, I want to thank a couple of people. I'm going to keep it tight. First, thank you to all my 60 guests. I don't have time to name you all, but every one of you trusted me with your story. Some of you told me some things on tape you really hadn't told anybody. I don't take it lightly. Thank you. Second, I want to thank Jeff Crilly, as well as his daughter, Sarah. Jeff runs a studio I'm recording in right now. 60 episodes ago, he planted the seed to start this podcast. Sarah's been phenomenal in helping coach and encourage me along and help me come up with solo episode content and make the show better. The studio has also been great about getting this content out on the airwaves. So thank you to the Crilly family for all that you do. So third, thank you to the listeners. Thank you for the reviews, the thousands of downloads, the listeners I've never met in cities I've never been to. You have no idea what it does for me when I see the downloads, sitting in the studio, wondering if anybody's listening, wondering if any of it matters. It matters, and thank you. So a couple things before I sign off. I'll be back October of 26. Mark it, hold me to it. Till then, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss when I return. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow the Grit Mindset at Matt Rosen show page. And then send me guest suggestions if you'd like to be on or know someone that'd be great. And number 3, I started the show because I needed to hear stories of grit. I wanted to share them with the audience. I'm pausing it because I want to share those stories and do it better. I'll see you in October. This is your host, Matt Rosen. Thank you to everyone that's been part of the last 60 episodes of the Grit Mindset. Looking forward to coming back for season 2 this fall. In the meantime, stay gritty out there.